Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel and my session on progress with prompt number 1 and a little bit about prompt number 2. I have pinned out most of what I'm doing for our doily project. So pretty much ready to go with that, and I've started sewing one line down. I had planned on doing a bit of a sew along with you and having a chat like in so many videos that I watch. Thought I'd just get started, get the stitching laid down and then keep going. And then I realised that I've done one row, but to come around and come back, I'm going to have to swing the fabric around because I'm not ambidextrous or left-handed and I can't go back the other way without turning the fabric. Normally, all my previous projects have been small pieces and that wouldn't have been an issue, but this is a big tablecloth and I physically have to swing the whole thing around, and that's just not practical in this setup on a table. And sewing on a table is something I'm new to too, because I'm usually just sitting on the couch and happily sewing on my lap, but needing to be a bit more organised and have a bit more space with a big project like this. So I'm still planning on hopefully doing a bit of a sew along in the future, but it's not going to happen today. So I've got this laid out, ready to sew down, and have had to do a little bit of hemming on my piece of ribbon. Looks lovely, and I thought, oh, the pop of hot pink's exactly what I want. But as we know, ribbon frays really badly, and because this isn't a decorative piece that will just sit nice and flat in a book or on a wall and won't be handled much, this will be a tablecloth that is being used, and I didn't want to just leave raw end of ribbon, which would probably fray very quickly. It's potentially going to have to be washed at some stage too, so who knows what will happen to all this once it hits the water like that. But yes, I had to do just a little bit of fiddly hemming on the edge of the ribbon on this piece as well, so that I won't have those nasty frayed edges. I love the look of a frayed piece of fabric, but for a practical, something that's being used for practical purposes, that isn't going to be suitable. So that little piece will just pop under there and just add a little bit of colour. So that will be ready to go. So when I see you next, I will hopefully have all this sewn down. I'm thinking of doing some navy blue or that colour blue, just some French knots in the centres of these flowers here, just to give that a break up the white a little bit. I'm hoping the French knots won't be too textural. I'll try and make them as flat as possible because there will be things sitting on this table and I don't want to make it uneven if someone pops a wine glass or something down. So we'll see how that goes, or we might just have to deal with it if they are a little bit bumpy. So that's all happening next. Once that's sewn down, I'm thinking, because there's quite a bit of white space here and there also will be in this corner here, I might make use of this beautiful book which I got for one of our previous projects, probably for Down the Garden Path, and I haven't done much out of it, but I will probably do some sort of flattish flowers, nothing too bumpy like a bullion stitch, probably something with a flatter look. Aren't they just beautiful? Yeah, something with a flatter look. Oh, here we go. Yes, probably something like these, yeah, with some stem stitch, just to fill in the blanker corners. Whoops, random cotton reel. So that might come later. We'll see how we're going, because these prompts come pretty thick and fast. So that might be something that perhaps once I've got the overall thing done, I can blend that through the whole tablecloth and make that a bit more cohesive. So that will work. So that's prompt 1. Prompt 2, which is thrifted things. And as when I started joining with the Roxy Girls, I had absolutely no stash of any sort of fabrics or anything. So pretty much everything I have is, if not bought, then thrifted for fabrics and cottons. Speaking of which, is this fabulous big reel of cotton which I thrifted at some stage, and I will be using on this project because I will be needing a lot of white cotton. It's not quite white, it's a little bit off-white, but for the small stitching that I'll be doing on that, it's not going to show that it's not white, and I'll be able to make use and get into this. So that is a part of the whole thing that is thrifted. For my next prompt, I've got a few ideas. Of course, as I said, my theme is blue, and I found this little piece. I might use the whole piece, which has lovely blue, and also the pink that I'm starting to feature as an accent colour. So I'll probably use that in some form. I can't remember where I got that from, but this was definitely thrifted, this lovely blue broderie, which was a cushion cover, which I've picked apart, and that matches perfectly, so that'll be gorgeous. This blue ribbon, which I initially said I might use on my first prompt and I didn't, but the colour matches perfectly here, so that's a possibility. But as I do keep saying, I have all these great ideas, I pin them down and I go, oh no, that doesn't look good, not going to work, and I start again. But this is where I'm starting from. And also this pretty blue ribbon, which I bought for another project, for a altered book project actually, which I haven't done and I'm not going ahead with in the way I thought. So that pretty blue matches as well, and together with some white, or yeah, or perhaps just the white background might be enough white for the second prompt. No idea how I'm going to use those, in what shapes or forms or what. That will be a work in progress, and that might well take me even into next week. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't even get this started this week. Also at the end of next week, I'm heading off to Tasmania for a month. We're doing some pet sitting and some other bits and pieces, and I won't be taking this project because it is just a bit unwieldy. We are taking the car, so we will be able to take quite a bit with us, but to take all my sewing bits that I go through to sort out what I'm using will not be practical. So I'm actually going to take some pieces of fabric to make a hand-pieced small quilt. So I'll be working on that while we're away, but still thinking about Roxy and what I'm going to do when I get home with the prompts that I've missed. And I'll be looking forward to checking out what everyone's doing. Such inspirational work. Just love it. So I'll get on with this. Hopefully by the time I go, I'll have prompt 1 definitely sewn down and something worked out for prompt 2, and maybe even prompt 3, which comes out on Sunday before I head off, and then I'll have a lot of catching up to do when I get back. But that's it for now, and I'm looking forward to getting number 1 sewn down and getting this show on the road. So I'll see you next time.